Hello everyone, and welcome to my latest Marvel Puzzle Quest video introduction for the new character Ant-Man. He was just released actually already almost 2 weeks ago in a new PvE event as a promotion for the movie. He is a new 4-star character, so we're going to go over his best builds, his stats, and who he works out within a team, as well as showing some videos of him in action. Although hopefully by now all of you have already had a chance to play him. So, Ant-Man. This is Scott Lang. This is not Pym. That character is currently not in the game, although they mentioned that they might add him in the future. So, his description is: the next evolution of the Marvel Cinematic Universe brings a founding member of the Avengers to the big screen for the first time with Marvel's Ant-Man. Armed with the astonishing ability to shrink in scale but increase in strength, Master Thief Scott Lang must embrace his inner hero and help his mentor, Dr. Hank Pym, protect the secret behind his spectacular Ant-Man suit from a new generation of towering threats. Against seemingly insurmountable obstacles, Pym and Lang must plan and pull off a heist that will save the world. Well, this is definitely the biggest plug I've seen for any of the movies yet in these new character releases, since it refers entirely to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's also incorrect because he wasn't a founding member of the Avengers. This is Scott Lang, unless they're referring to Hank Pym below. But anyhow, it's a okay cover. It's not bad like some of the other ones. Although I don't like his pose, it looks kind of silly. He does have a decent amount of health. He's not in the lower tier for 4-star, but he's also not in the Hulk or Thing tier. But he's got 14,890 health, and his colors are purple, blue, and yellow, with purple being his strongest, then blue, then yellow. And let's start off by going over his purple skill, called Pym Particles. It costs 9 purple AP. So, the description for the skill is: Ant-Man uses Pym particles to shrink down and cause pint-sized chaos. Creates a purple trap tile that creates, at 3 covers, 2 strength 109 purple attack tiles each turn. While this trap tile is on the board, this power becomes grow. So let me explain what that means. So first off, you lay down a trap tile when you use 9 AP. So the trap tile is going to be creating the attack tiles every turn at the beginning. So that, for example, at just 3 covers at the end of the first turn, you're going to have 218 and attack tiles out on the board. Now, if it just created those 2 tiles, then it wouldn't be such a great use of the AP. However, if you play with him, and you will see that as long as you don't get unlucky with the trap tile placement, then you can very quickly find yourself with a lot of attack tiles on the board, doing thousands of damage a turn. So I think this is a very good skill, especially when you level it up. So let me just show you the bonuses for bringing it up. So at 4 covers, you're now going to be making 3 attack tiles every turn, although still at the same strength level, but that means 327 in attack tiles every turn. Remember, these are attack, not strike, meaning you're basically getting this extra damage automatically. It goes very well with strike tiles, though, as that will increase the damage they do. And once you add on the 5th cover, you're now going to be looking at still 3 tiles that you create every turn, but for 171 strength. That means 513 attack tiles a turn. That means that in just 2 turns, as long as that doesn't get mashed away and there's enough purple tiles out to cover, you've now got over 1,000 damage coming just from attack tiles for a 9 AP move. That's a pretty good skill. So we'll see that in action in a little bit, but I just wanted to mention, so first off, from 3 to 5 covers, you're getting 295 more damage for a turn alone. So I think that you really need to maximize the number of tiles that you're creating as well as the strength of the tiles. So I think for that reason, having 5 covers is and purple is important. Now, there's one other thing about this skill that we saw, that once you put the trap tile on the board, that this power becomes grow. That's a completely different skill now. You can't activate it until the trap tile is out, and once the trap tile goes away, you can't use this skill anymore. It also costs that 9 purple AP. However, it's a completely different move. It actually is an attack now. So what that does is, when you have 3 covers, it does 4,397 damage. At 4 covers, that's 6,352 damage, and at 5 covers, that's 10,261 damage. That means you're seeing an increase of 5,864 damage from 3 to 5 covers. So you really want this skill to be in 5. We'll see later that the blue skill does the same thing with growth, although a bit differently, but I think that, as we'll talk about later, you're better off having 5 in purple and in yellow and not in blue. So about this extra damage, so there's different ways of viewing the return per AP of a skill. This is not a direct damage skill like Repulsor Punch, where you just need to get 9 AP and you just shoot it off. This has 2 parts to the skill. First, you have the regular Pim Particles, which is adding attack tiles to the board, and then you have Grow. So in theory, you could just save up 18 purple AP to get a guaranteed launch of the Grow move. Really, well, that's avoiding the chance that it'll get matched away, that trap tile will get matched away. You're giving up a lot of potential damage by not letting it stay out for at least 1 or 2 turns to create a bunch of attack tiles. I think generally I would not want to just save up 18 purple, although I also would consider saving up a bit more than just 1 or 2 purple. But anyhow, so the damage per AP, if you just considered it of launching it right away, is 570 per AP. And if you considered it really a completely separate move, and that you let the attack tiles stay out for 3-4 turns, and you've got the entire board covered with attack tiles now, or purple tiles at least covered with attack tiles, really it's 1,140 damage per AP at 5 covers. So there's no move in the game that does that much damage per AP. At least not without some other conditions met. So your view of how powerful this move is will really depend on how you want to count AP along with other abilities that are going to come out, like his attack tiles. But I think this is a great move. It has utility, and it goes very well with strike tiles. But anyhow, that's enough about Pim Particles. Let's look at Small Time Crooks, his blue AP move, which is also 9 AP. Ant-Man hops on the back of Anthony and infiltrates the enemy's base to stage a miniature heist. Creates a 5-turn blue countdown tile that steals 1 enemy attack, protect, or strike tile every turn. While this countdown tile is on the board, this power becomes Grow. So the only difference when you move this up to 4 covers is it steals 2 enemy tiles per turn, and at 5 covers it steals 3 enemy tiles per turn. While this can be handy against a very specific set of characters, for example Carnage or Daken, there's not enough characters where it would really be that useful to have at 5 covers ever, because 3 a turn, if this lasts just 2 turns, that's already 6 tiles you've stolen. Most characters in this game are not going to be creating 6 tiles. So I really don't see the benefit in going to 5, although this had that same Grow move as purple had, and you might want to have the chance that in case you don't get enough purple but you get enough blue, you can launch the blue twice to get Grow to go off, but it's still not worth it. I think there's better blues out there. So this is a good utility skill, but I don't think it will always be used against every enemy, and even when it is used, it's a countdown tile, which is much more like, well, it's got a time limit. You've got 5 turns to use Grow afterwards, and Pin Particles is staying out on the board until that trap tile is matched away. So I think that it goes without saying that this should be at 3. I just don't see any logical argument to have this at 5. And remember, the AI, when playing this character for you on defense, is not going to be saving up the AP to use the move 2 times in a row. So you're very rarely going to actually see the AI using either of these moves with Grow, except maybe Pin Particles if you have a purple generating character as a teammate. So let's look at the Ants move. So the Ants move is a yellow AP, 7 AP power, and it's that Ant-Man commands an army of ants to swarm his foes, biting them all over. Creates at 3 covers 3 3-turn red countdown tiles that each create a strength 63 yellow strike tile when they resolve. And then the passive is at the beginning of each turn, though for each tile that's out, they will deal 190 damage to the enemy in the front. So this tile is a little bit trickier to describe, but basically you have 3 covers. You have this, you create these red countdown tiles. So when those tiles are out, they're not going to create the strike tiles until they resolve. So first off, you're not always going to have all of them resolve, and sometimes you'll have none of them resolve. It depends who you're fighting against on the board, but that's always the issue with countdown tiles. And at the beginning of each turn, each one of those tiles that's out is going to be dishing out damage to the enemy that's currently in the front. So basically, that means that at 3 covers, you're going to have 189 in strike tiles, assuming all 3 tiles resolve. It also means every turn, you're going to be doing 567 damage to the guy in front. And that means that if all the tiles survive for the full 3 turns, you will have done 1,701 damage to the characters that you're getting to hit with these ants tiles. The benefits when you bump yellow up to 4, you're now going from having 189 worth of strike tiles to 288 in strike tiles if they all resolve. You're now going from 567 in damage per turn with the passive to being 756 per turn. You're going from 1,701 to 2,268 total damage, assuming all these tiles last. And then finally at 5 covers, now again, once you have 5 red tiles you're creating, there's a much bigger chance that some of them are going to be matched away. But just looking at this for a moment, that means you're going to have, if all of them do resolve, you'll have 450 in strike tiles after 3 turns, and you'll have dealt 1,305 damage per turn with the tiles, and for a total of 3,915 damage by the time they're all resolved. So this move is a little bit complicated, and it's very hard to measure how effective it will actually be. And it's only 7 AP, which is very low for doing so many different things and so much potential damage. But it's somewhat risky, and in fact it's kind of interesting that there's actually a bigger chance you're going to match away your countdown tiles the more covers you have, because this is creating red tiles. It's not necessarily going to be on an existing red tile, so you might end up causing the tiles to be matched away at having it at a higher level. I think that would be the only possible argument for having more in blue, but I think this skill is just, it's a lower AP skill and it's very good, and it's going to be more useful more often than blue, which is why I think that you need to have 5 in yellow. So I'm going to just show you the moves now, and because his skills are a bit more tricky to get off, I'm going to show you full match with him. And then I will come back and discuss possible teammates. However, I just want to say that I really recommend this character. He's not like the greatest, best character out in a while, but I think he's very good. And his attack tiles are really going to be a pain to go up against. So stay tuned for the match video.